Hey guys, today we're going to be doing a con VOD for Pennington. Penny. He is a player on my Discord server, and we're going to be going over his gameplay, seeing what he could be doing better, seeing some mistakes, and giving him suggestions on what to do. And then towards the end, we'll sum up everything and give him 3 or 4 pointers and things to work on actively. Let's get started. So he's playing Con on Ice Mines. Ice Mines is a very linear map, so it's like very long and narrow. Games are usually, if they're not stomps, they usually go to 3-3, and then it's just the final round at the end. He is against an Inara and Azan, which is a lot of walls. Ray, Sky, Vivian. Interesting. On his team, he's got Saris, Xin, Buck, double flank, aggressive team with a Nando, so this is a good comp. Ideally, you want to be kind of facing the Azan, probably on the far side, on stage. And Inara's going to be on point against Nando. You can kind of get an off angle and shoot at Inara around her walls. I want to get Illuminate for Sky, because if the Sky gets in the back line, then your Saris is taken out of the fight. Because Saris is Saris. Yeah. Okay, let's skip to where people actually show up. And we'll go over loadouts really quick. By the way, if you guys want your own games to be reviewed, I have a Discord server that you guys can join and request VODs for. Request VODs on. Yeah, there's a lot of VOD coaches for tanks, DPS, and I do supports myself. So this is the loadout. Never Surrender 4, Into the Breach 4,
4, 3,
Martial
2,
Law, Excessive Force,
1.
Open Fire. That's like pretty similar to my loadout. I think Open Fire and Martial Law are a little bit redundant. Oh wait, he doesn't have Plate Mail. No, you need HP as Con. Since you can't hold up your shield and shoot at the same time, anytime you're shooting, you're taking damage. So you want to be able to shoot for much longer. So I would be running Plate Mail with at least 3 or 4 points. I run it at 5. Never Surrender is good. Into the Breach is good, but I don't think it should be run in every loadout, depending on how fast you want to play. Since you have 2 flanks in this game, you want to be able to keep up with them, so I think Into the Breach is good here. If I were to make changes, I would get rid of Open Fire and put in Plate Mail, and maybe take a point out of Never Surrender and Into the Breach to bring Plate Mail up to 4. I guess one argument you could make against Plate Mail is Sky does percentile damage against you, but like, more HP is still good. Even if it helps the enemy sometimes, like, it's still good. Alright, let's continue. Items, Master Riding, I like that. Master Riding maybe get Illuminate, depending on the Sky, but Master Riding on this map is huge. You want it on off tanks, flanks, and Grover, because you can get those dismounts.
Your duty
What's your team
continues.
Snow Bullets, Bulk Up, Auto Reach, Booby Trap, okay. Treacherous. Okay, so Treacherous is the most important one. Free con ult, right? Free con ult.
And so
Ascension.
begins.
On this map. Tempering. Interesting. Okay. You can, like, if you have Master Riding 0, 1, or 2, you can go down where this buck is going, and it's actually faster. Yeah, you're only ahead of him because you have Master Riding right now. There you are. Okay, going on the right. I like this. Stay on your horse. This is good. I think that, like, it's a bit better to not exactly push that, because that is a Vivian, and you honestly lose that fight because she burns through your shield so fast. But there's also no need to shoot that Vivian right now, right? Like, their most valuable and weak member of the team is the Ray, and she's out in the open right now. So you being able to control this space means that they have nowhere to run to, right? Like, they have to run into the tunnel to get out of your line of sight, or they have to run into this hut here, into the barn. So this angle is very powerful. You can shoot, there's cover. By going over here, you're kind of just taking Vivian out of the fight, but you're also taking yourself out of the fight. It becomes a 4v4, and like, then you don't really have as much control over what happens in the rest of the fight, right? Like, if you're here, you could be shooting the Ray, you could heal your Din, though he's gonna be fine. You could be shooting the Ray gets pressured out, and then maybe, like, these two back off over there, and then these kind of stay over here, right? So over here right now, you would make a lot more space, I think. Let's see what you do. Sorry, I keep skipping to the wrong person. Okay, you're just keeping the Vivian busy. You're losing though. Shout. Cleanse caught. Shout. Good. Okay. I like that you're cleansing caught. But okay, you see what happened here? Like your Xin and your Saris kind of came over. They followed you, right? But then you kind of abandoned them and pushed in a bit too far. It's like, imagine if it's like a piece of clay, right? Like if the clay is kind of stretched out like in a fat rectangle, like it's strong. But if you stretch it too far, then any point on this piece of clay will break, right? So you don't want to push too far because then your line becomes too thin and you can't help each other. So by pushing over here, you allowed the Sky, who's invisible, who you can't see, to come over here and just pick off your support because you're all the way over there and you can't help, right? And you know how I feel about Saris. Once Saris goes invisible, she's useless. So yeah, let's see what you do now. You're dead, and it is Ice Mines, so I wouldn't expect to get a retouch, especially since they already have cap. So yeah, it's really important to get roll that's like correct. Anyway, I'll stop beating the dead horse. Yeah, this guy just kind of separated you from the rest of your team, and you don't want to really be in a position where that happens. Coming over. Okay. I guess you're kind of rushing a point. One thing you can do is if you see your team pushing that way, or like your Fernando, you go this way. Even if you don't get the point, like at least you can apply pressure. Yeah, running straight down into 4 people is not great. But I get it. First round, you want to get there, get the overtime.
Defend.
Okay, so their team is taking high ground, which is good. You want to contest this high ground, either through taking the high ground or shooting from another high ground. Okay, you're shooting from you're pausing. Get in the fight. Okay, where are you going? Okay. Yeah, this is like you're getting line of sight on Saris. Unlucky. You kind of just separated yourself from the team, right? Like Khan's not exactly like Rom or Ruckus or Yagarath, where you can kind of just drive by and then live in the enemy backline, and then drive by again to get back to your team. Because once you're separated, it's really hard for you to get back. So Khan is more of a passive off tank. I think I said this in my guide, but like he has decent range. He has decent self-sustain with the shout, and he can just shield on demand, right? So he can hold the position really well, but it's hard for him to do things on his own against a team, right? Like a free Rom can make a ton of space, a free Yag can make a ton of space, but like a free Khan, not really. So I think the better play would have been to hold this room here, maybe push up to this ice block and like get an angle on the Ray if she drops down here, or like just force it so that the Ray has to take damage from some area because the Zin's behind. So if she's here right now, the Zin can shoot her for free, and then she has to back out here, and then you can shoot her for free, right? By sitting back all the way back there, all they have to do is like, hey guys, Khan's behind us. Okay, just leave him there. Like if he shows up, then we just group up and kill him. Right? So I think you overextended a bit, kind of like in the mid fight. And now you just get 1v1 by Azan because Azan's kind of dumb. Don't reload with 18 ammo. You have half the magazine, just keep shooting him. Why are you reloading? Okay. I guess it's like a weird muscle memory. Fernando dropped a low ground. No, don't drop the low ground. I'm pretty sure you can contest from here. Okay, get back. This is good. You're okay, let's look at what's happening here. Like I like what you're doing right now. Oh, your Fernando's dead. I think yes time. But yeah, like this is the main area where Inara should be alone. This Ray's not positioning well, but it's Ray. Rays do that. But here is where they want to concentrate their firepower at. They want to get the high ground, shoot down here, and then maybe shoot from here as well, right? They're not doing that, so you're contesting the high ground, and that's good. I like what you're doing. It's going to be hard, though, because you are Khan. Your shield's not that big. And, okay. Yeah. Maybe I would have dropped over here. Because that way, if Vivian wants to shoot you, she can, like, she has to come all the way down here, and then your entire team can shoot her. It's easier. You want to be thinking about which lines of sight you're peeking, right? And also which lines of sight force the enemy to peek. So by backing down here, you wanted to point. You died on point, but like your team's fine. You didn't have to die for a point there, and you just put yourself in a very awkward situation, right? Whereas if you went over here, things could be different. Maybe the Saris heals you out of caught, and then you can back up, and then like maybe play around cover here. That's bad, or just like keep playing this corner and shoot whoever comes around. But yeah, Ice Mine's a tricky for positioning. That's a big ult. Did he go guillotine? No, he didn't. What unit? Oh. Okay. That's a good ult, yeah. Buck's popping off. Nice. Oh, he went bounce. Interesting. Okay, take high ground. Wait, staying on high ground. This is a lot better than the last game I allotted for you, by the way. You're improving a lot. I like it. Okay, dismount, dismount, dismount. Just leave that. Yeah, you don't want to get caught out. So I wasn't looking, but I think usually when I'm playing, I was looking. It's like you want to see who's staying behind and who's pushing with you, right? If the thing is like right at your door, usually you leave like maybe a point tank there, like you leave Fernando there just in case Sky tries to sneak past. But then the rest of your team can push up. But once again, I think he pushed up too far. Your team can't help you. Like the second the Azan wall comes up, you should be backing up because you know that the second the wall comes down, 5 people are going to be pouring through, right? And then also keep in mind that this is an Inara, like she will just fall you off. So yeah, I think that's one thing you need to work on, just making sure you don't get caught by yourself due to overextending. Alright, so now it's a 4v2 because 2 of your teammates stay behind. Now it's a 4v4. Or, sorry, 5. Yeah. Now your team's in full retreat because both your tanks are dead. You do have ult, so if you have to, you can use it. Oh, you're pushing too far and you're dead again. Yeah, like, you see, like, your team is safe back here. They're setting up for a defense. And you held W into, like, 5 people, right? So, that's not great. You want to make sure that you have a way to fall back to your team. It is unreliable to think that you can dash back with Khan, especially with a hitbox that big, because it's easy for the Azan to just, like, kind of touch you, and then you'll be grabbing him instead, and you'll be locked out, and you'll be dead. So always make sure you're on cover, and make sure that you can back away somewhere safely. The Buck's kind of doing good stuff. If Saris is in trouble, Saris is out of the fight. Damn, your Buck is popping. Why did you do that? Your Nando's fine. You dashing out to point here just kind of gives up all the other space you have. If the, where's the Vivian? Oh, Vivian's dead, okay. But like, if any of these guys were actually like on high ground, like they would be shooting you for free, right? Like what I would have done is go here and then shoot them, right? Because then if they hide behind the box, you can still hit them. If they try to go here, you can still hit them. And they're not going to be shooting you. They're going to be shooting whoever's right in front of them. So taking those off angles, especially in panicking times, like overtime or basically overtime, try to take an off angle. Like I think you were trying to grab the Ray there, which could have been huge because she's a support. If she dies, they'd probably die. But you also just get a better angle, and you can just shoot the Ray for free. There's nowhere for her to hide here, right? And if she spends an ult, then she spends an ult. Like, you being there is not going to stop her from spending an ult. Nando uses an ult. You use an ult. Okay. We will go over the problems there. So, like, you're kind of point taking right now, and the Azan is, like, also point taking. Okay. Okay, so like you kind of did the thing where there's like 3 people on point, and you just threw 5 people onto point with them, and like sure that works, but if the enemy team had like a dredge, you're dead, right? So let's talk about a few things that went kind of wrong there, even though you guys defended. Nando used his ult when the entire team was full HP. I don't know why he did that. That's not on you. You used an ult when you were in the middle, surrounded by people, and you're crippled. So let's just imagine you got that ult off, right? Like you hold the Ray up to kill. Like, okay, but the Ray's dead anyway. The Buck's chasing her down. It's a 5v3 on the point. You don't need that ult. And if you were to ult, I would have done it right away, the second you left this door. You ult someone, grab them, and just walk in, and it insta-kills. Ulting someone into the door insta-kills them. So ulting exposed is no bueno. Actually glad you missed, because then you get the refund back. Items, you're buying Master Riding 2. I like that because you're dying. They did use an Aura ult, so you don't have to worry about Rizel just yet. But I would be getting Illuminate, potentially, just in case this guy manages to get past you.
Capture point spawning in 15
Or to prevent this guy from getting
seconds.
past you. Yeah. I also think Nimble's honestly pretty good on this map. Because there's a lot of times where you're just kind of
Four,
racing someone.
3, 2, 1.
Unlucky. Make that jump next time. Yeah, you kind of got 0 value from Master Riding because you're hitting all these walls. Okay. Wait, Ray dies here. Okay, no, she's forced out. Don't chase her across point. Okay. So, like, Ray's there, and then the way you chase her is you run onto point and expose yourself. Think about what would happen if you went this way instead. What the Oh, that's weird. Think about what happens if you go here instead, right? Then she wouldn't be able to group up with Inara. She would be forced to hide behind this block. You can walk around, and then she's forced onto point. Right? So think about sometimes forcing enemies where they don't want to be. Because if she's on point, then like your team can kill it, right? Because she's on point and she dies. Your buff probably dies here, but he trades this guy, so that's okay. Let's see what you do here. Okay, you're point tanking. Like Nando's right behind you. Okay, okay. I'm gonna be throwing a lot of information at you. Take what you will out of it, but I'm just gonna throw everything I have. So Ice Mines is notorious for being the one map where you just get one fight, and then if you mess it up, then you lose the point because it's so hard to get a retake on, right? So it doesn't matter if you let the enemy free cap to 90% if you win the fight, because then you can just zone. So I think that sitting here and being a point tank, just because you don't want to let the enemy cap, is not great on Ice Mines, especially when you could be doing something better, right? You could be playing here, maybe the Buck would have won and not died for it, right? Or maybe the Ray would be dead. The Ray would definitely be dead. Or you could be helping your Ceres against the Azan. But sitting on point here, like, even if you get 30% cap, if your team loses the fight, you lose the point, right? Let's see if that happens. Your Zin's dead. You're like healing. What Ray's doing. You can go around. Shoot the Ray. Shoot the Ray, shoot the Ray, shoot the Ray. That's an Inara with DR next to a Ray. Nice. Tunnel Vision Bay, classic. So like you kind of just stood here and like shot 3 different people for a bit, and then dashed onto point. If I were you, I would be here, right? Here, it forces them to turn around, and the Ray is not a good player, right? She's like dancing out in the open, taking a ton of damage, or she could be. I think you just need to like also just aim better, but that just comes with practice. But if you stood here, you could shoot something. You could like imagine if you got your ult, you ulted the Inara off. Like no one turns around in this elo, right? So throw the Inara off, and then just kill the Ray with your gun, and like maybe something can happen, right? Like you kind of lost the fight anyway. but maybe something happens there. But this way, like you dashing onto point, getting rid of your mobility, when you didn't need to, you could have literally just walked around. Like they weren't looking at you, right? Just walk with your shield up, go here, touch point, back off, shoot things. And before overtime goes down, touch it again, right? Like you don't have to stay on point to engage overtime. But now you're just dead. Okay. Nando's going for a touch. Nando dies. Your team's kind of just staggering in, honestly. It's not entirely on you, but you could be staggering yourself less. But you have ult. You have plenty of time. You can just use it. Oh, don't fall. Down high ground. Dude, Nando's kind of pushing with no one behind them. I like this. Pushing. Yeah. Okay. There's an Azan in the back line. Yeah. Go back and help, or go help and in. Don't just stay on point. Don't just stay on point. You're not doing anything. Go help zone. You heard this guy in this. If you play with headphones, they should be able to tell you that you're further away than you think. Good thing. Then yeah, it's further away. You could ult somebody here and just get it back. Like, just end the fight before it even starts. I would have done that. Maybe just ult the Ray or the Sky, like, through that corridor. Your team kills him. You're kind of doing this thing where you're just kind of, like, looking here, shooting a few shots, going over here, shooting a few shots, and, like, not really committing to anything, and your whole team's in front of you now, right? Like, I would have either opt cover to cover and, like, pushed, which is a bit risky because they could just, like, Inara wall you off. I think the better move would have been to either go here or, like, maybe around the outside and just, like, slowly advance forward and, like, make it so that this is not a place they can back up to safely, right? If your team's going down the middle, try to pinch them, right? And if they don't back up here, then they're backing up to their side, and, like, that's good, right? But you're kind of indecisive right now. Yeah, this would be like a very different fight if you were already here, right? Then your teammates can see you, and, like, you guys are just pinching them, and they have no space to work with, right? But now they can kind of afford to survive here for a bit. Like, Azan can honestly get out, and Nara can wall jump out, or, like, walk through this. Yeah, like, you're not making a ton of space right now. Little tidbit, you're doing the thing where, like, you're doing this when no one's shooting at you. You could just stand still and shoot, especially on controller. I'm assuming that's just gonna be easier. Yeah, like, don't move unnecessarily. Your team's dead. Fall back, fall back, fall back, fall back. You're gonna get caught out. Yep, you're dead. Let's see what goes on. Random needs to let go of W. Like, at this point, you should realize that your Buck is literally carrying, like, so hard. So you should be trying to play with him more and, like, help him do what. Are you on point?
30 seconds remaining. Enemy killing spree.
Okay. Like, you don't need to contest on a defense. That's your point tank's job, and, like, you're better off just killing them, because then the cart won't move on its own, right? Yeah, I'm not really a fan of your instinct to default to, like, running onto point. You want to be taking important space, which is the high ground, or the offlane, right? Like this side, or like this side, I guess, or up here. Okay. Now you're going to zone. At this point, you don't want to use your ult because you want to have it for the next fight.
Have you met my
Shoot,
friend?
shoot, shoot. Okay, you're kind of backing out more now. I would have just stayed back here, honestly. Like, you crossing over here just makes it so that if you have to retreat, you want to retreat, you have to dash, or you have to, like, take damage or, like, shield. When you could just basically do the same thing here and honestly have a better angle to shoot. Like, if they somehow decide to come down here, you can shoot more into that alley. You can definitely shoot down the tunnel. Yeah. Also, Khan's right-handed. It's a small thing to consider. Oh, now you're backing into this place, right? How do you get out of this? You have to expose yourself. Like, expose, or you have to expose yourself. So make sure that you have a way out that is safe. I would be playing around this cover here. You might die here. Oh, you're definitely dead. Not shooting you. Team's dead. You want to back up here? You're dead.
Try and catch me.
The further out you go, the weaker your defense is. Damn, this buff. Okay. So let's look at what you could have done there, right? There were two possible courses of action. One is what you did, fight high ground on the right with an Azan. Two, you could have pushed the DPS and the support. I think it's going to be hard to push this. It's just an option to consider. Maybe if your buck was full HP and about to dive with you, you could take this. Azan's not necessarily the wrong choice, but it's just keep in mind that he can just dash away and just leave you stranded here. All the time your Vivian is just shooting your Fernando and your Saris and your buck for free, right? So who's the bigger threat here right now? Azan's big, but he doesn't do nearly as much damage as Vivian with her ult next to a Ray, right? So you want to just keep the bigger threat off your team if you can. At least keep her occupied. Worst comes to worst, you can like play around the staircase and like shoot her. It's kind of no cover, but like still. Try to contest her instead of the Azan. Like the Azan backs up and then like you're kind of stuck here now, right? Don't drop, don't drop. Oh, now you're on mid. Why are you in mid? Why are you shooting the Inara? Shoot the Ray. Right, okay. So this entire time, the Vivian has been up there until the Buck decided to do that, right? The Vivian, if you contested the Vivian, maybe Fernando wouldn't have ulted, right? Vivian was applying free pressure until the Buck walked all the way from over there and jumped. Then you also gave up your space. I would have pushed the Vivian in the first place or stayed up here. You dropping down doesn't do anything. You're not contesting point any harder because your Fernando's already there, right? Well, now he's dead, but like he was there. You could be shooting much easier. You'd be able to shoot people much easier because you don't have to shoot through people. Or you could have stayed up here, which is also good because then that means that the Ray can't back up, right? If you were here, the Ray is probably dead. No, why are you ulting? Don't ult. On point. Okay, let's see what you buy here. You should get Illuminate. It's a Sky. Easy counter to Sky, just buy Illuminate.
Prove your devotion.
What did they buy? Nimble, Haven.
In 15 seconds.
Okay, they're not getting Master Writing. One thing you could do is ask your team to get dismounts. I don't really know who can do it. Maybe Saris. Saris have Master Writing? No. Saris should get like Master Writing 1 and just shoot through the gates. And get dismounts that way. That way you get to wrap around for free without having to contest anyone. Ooh, you're going into Barn. That is very risky with the amount of walls they have. Team's gonna get separated very easily. Yeah. Okay, so like, what's going on in this game is that, first of all, you're not really taking space that's different from your team a lot. Like, you're kind of throwing everyone down an alley into a team that has 2 wall champions that can just separate you or like stop your push outright, and a Vivian who just dishes out a ton of damage from the back, right? You want to split them. You want to take off angles. If you were here, especially since you have Master Writing, you'll be here by the time they arrive there. You can dismount them and then force them to have to fight their way into a fighting position here. Yeah.
Time's ticking.
You gotta make those jumps too. If you buy Master Riding, you can't afford to hit walls because then it's just negated. Why are you on point? Good grab, but why are you on point? Flying an hour, that's interesting. What I would have done is probably grab through Barn, get this angle, and like the Vivian's 1v3ing right now, like she's dead no matter what, right? The Inara is like 1 as well. You could just go over here and shoot whoever's here if there's anyone. Or you could wrap around the far side, but I don't like the idea of you just running straight onto point without knowing what's going on. Because A, you're taking a ton of damage, and B, you're not making space. Right. Okay, now you just zone. You just hold this corner, don't push any further, and get them off their horses. Yeah, and if you just don't die, this point is yours. Alright, watch the window. Window, watch the window, watch the window. Nice, good stuff. Just die here. He's gonna die anyway. No! Benny! We've talked about con ults before. Use them in a safe place. Okay, high ground, or off lane, that works too. Vivian dies. Oh, come on, you gotta hit the shots. You could have just shielded and backed up. That would have been the same effect, and you would have your dash in case you need it later. Ooh, your Ceres is overextended. Now you're running down mid again. And now you're pushing up when half your team is dead. Now you're gonna die. Yep. So like, if your team's dying, don't run up. If your team's dying, run away. Right? Unless you're like Nando with an ult. Or like, you get my point. Like, you can't do anything to save your team other than just like do a bit of damage. It's like, if they're already dead, back up. You could have kind of stayed. Like, your Ceres is here, right? Like, she's intent on helping you stay here. So don't leave her. Like, take advantage of the fact that she's here. And like, apply pressure here, right? Like, that's what your Buck's doing. By the time the Buck arrived, like, you abandoned your position, your team's dead. So you could be here right now, and maybe that means that the Vivian and like the Sky aren't shooting your tanks for like your other teammates for free, and they'd be alive. Great. Yeah, now your Ceres is gonna fall off hard because you're at 90%. I'm assuming 90% caught. Maybe like 85. Keep dropping off high ground. You're on high ground. This is good. You're on high ground, but don't shoot the Azan. There's a Vivian over there. She's squishier, doing more damage, more valuable. Shoot her. Oh, where are you going? High ground, high ground, high ground. Like, that corner is safe if you do Azan. Okay. If you're shooting here, it's a bit dangerous because they can shoot from there, but like, they don't have much range. Right? The most range they have there is Ray, and like the Vivian's over there. You know that. So like, holding this corner and like shooting there, or like shooting the Azan, stopping him from just roaming this place for free is good. And if you're taking too much damage, you can just peek here and Ceres can heal you, right? I don't know if you were trying to dash back here and you just didn't flick hard enough. If that's the case, that's just an accident. Yeah. You could be here, or you could be there with a Ceres and just have a better line of sight on the high ground. Yeah, but stay on high ground. Now you have to, like, you can't do anything from here, right? Well, let's say you can't do anything that Fernando is not already doing. Like, see the Azan, like, you can't hit the Azan anymore. Like, he's just on high ground and hiding. And if he wants to, he can just duck behind cover. Back up, back up, back up.
Behind us.
Good kill. Azan was overextended and you punished that. Okay, you want to back up now. Nara's gonna trap you. Never mind. Maybe he should have used it.
15 seconds remaining. Enemy
Man, that's kind of beating.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6.
Honestly, like, what you could have done here is just go push the cart. Like, you don't have to kill them. If they don't see you, just go push the cart and, like, force them back, you know?
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, 3-3. You have your ult for mid-fight this time. This is big. This is the first time that's happened. I don't know why you're getting Chronos. I guess for shouting, but like you have a Ceres, and you're not really using your shout off cooldown anyway. Maybe I would have gotten like, definitely Illuminate, maybe Nimble, maybe Rezel for the Vivian booby traps, or Inara ult, or Inara cripple, or Azan knockout. Yeah, actually Rezel's pretty good here too.
Capture point spawning in 15
or Veteran.
seconds.
Yeah. Let's see what you do. I want you to go on the far side, ult someone, survive, and win the fight. And just hold, and just like apply pressure from the place we talked about in the first round. Oh, you can't miss that jump. Master Riding is losing value. This is the only reason you buy Master Riding. Okay, go, go, go. Oh, you're pushing this close side. Oh, you dismounted early. See, you should be where the Xin is right now. Like, okay, if you're here right now and you're like not doing anything Fernando's not doing, right? If you were here, free ult, Inara is treacherous. Vivian, like, you can just avoid her line of sight. Free ult, and they can't back up, right? Like, your team is doing your job, kind of, and like they have two flanks, but like you're not doing anything Fernando's not really doing already. Oh, maybe I would have gotten Bulldozer, actually, to break Inara things.
Double kill.
Push, push, push. Unless one of you guys throws, this should be a free game. Kill the Vivian. Vivian dies. Vivian dies. Oh, okay. Look at what happened here. You got stuck there. Your team's like not really helping Buck, which is kind of yikes. But like, what am I doing? Like, I think you should have either committed to help kill the Vivian, in which case the Vivian would be dead already, or you would have just gone further and gotten dismounts. The Vivian's dead no matter what. It's just a matter of when, right? Go over here, get them all off their horses, and like just fall back to this box, and it's gonna buy you like 10 seconds, and that's enough. That's enough to win you the game, right? Shut. Shut. You do have your ult. You do have your ult. Why are you? Okay. You know that the Azan's there, right? Azan's gonna come out this window. Fernando's there. He's holding his own. Once again, it's like the clay thing. Don't make this part of your line so weak when you already know people are there gonna break it, right? If I were you, I could have maybe backed up here, like stayed around this box. If someone pushes out, you just ult them and throw them off, right? Or ult them and then your team can kill them. Yeah, like right now you're zoning, but you're only zoning the Inara and like maybe the Vivian if she shows up. Like there's 3 people already passed, so it's too late to zone. But now it's just time to defend. Yeah, I think you realize that. And you haven't hit a single of this game. Dodge. Nando's almost at ult. Once again, you're running onto point when you could be doing the same thing from here, or like here, but you're just like, look at you, you're just like mini Fernando. Like if I stood right here, you're the same character. Yeah, like you don't cap the point any faster with more people, so get off the point and stop shooting the tank. Like, this guy's free. This guy's free. She's free. Stop shooting the one with the most HP who does the least damage, right? Like, tanks are there to buy time, so like, kill the people they're protecting. You're also not shooting anyone in particular. And now you're dead. Yeah, okay. And that's a good game because it's Ice Mines. Unless Hussein does something, but he's not going to. And now your team's staggering.
Have you met my friends?
Oh, maybe Nando gets touch? No, his horse got stuck. His horse got stuck. Ah. Okay.
We capped the point. We did it.
Okay. So that's the game. Let's go briefly into the shooting range and give you 3 things to work on. Overall, though, I think you improved a lot from the Nando game. I bought it last time, I think a few months ago, honestly. Yeah. So first thing, I think you're overextending a lot. There's a lot of times when your team, like, imagine if this is like,
And something you love has been killed.
is this the point?
No mercy.
And
It's never
your team's kind of
enough
pushing
revenge.
here. Your team's
Even if
staged
you
up here,
kill
and you
the
push
enemy
all the way
overall,
into like the enemy backline
it's never
on your
enough.
own, and you don't have a way to
War
get out,
inside.
or like a
Never
way
ends.
to. Dude, this victory needs to stop talking. Okay. Yeah, you don't have a way to get out, and you don't do that much damage on your own. Like your con, like you do damage, but you don't do that much damage.
The battle is about to
And you
begin.
can't put down a shield like Ashe and just like shoot through the shield, right? So you push, and they just kill you, or they just kill the people behind you. You want to like hold this like kind of aggressive but not like inting area. Yeah. So that's the number one thing. Like, don't overextend. Make sure that you can always get out. Same thing with like peeking cover. Sometimes you take questionable cover. Like, this is safe, right? Imagine if that was the enemy, and I was like, I can peek here and I can just run away for free, and he can't chase me, right? Meanwhile, if I'm here, like, if I had the choice, I would stand there, because if I was here, like, sure, I can shoot, but like, if I want to back over there, I have to like get out and take a ton of damage, right? So make sure that you're minimizing the damage you're taking with your positioning, and like think about what would happen if something happened. Like, oh, what happens if they push on the left side? Then like, will I get caught out alone? If the answer is yes, back up and find a safer position. So yeah, that's like just positioning in general. I think could use a bit of work. Second thing is your ult usage. Like normally you want to ult like ult, walk behind cover, and like do behind the corner things to them, right? But what you're doing right now is like you're like in a fight with a bunch of people, right? Not shooting anyone in particular, which is another thing. And like you're just ulting them. And like, yeah, you can hold them up, but these two people are just shooting you for free, right? And that's not great. So make sure that, once again, you're by cover that you can back up to with your ult. Or there's an environmental hazard, you can throw them right off. But it's ice mines. That only happens in the mid fight. I think third thing is that you're kind of defaulting into a point tank when you don't know what to do. And that happens because you're kind of indecisive. And I think that's just a lack of confidence. Like, because it may just be a foreign role to you. I know you mostly play DPS. So yeah, like, if there's an idea that if there's multiple choices you can choose, like roll out to the right or roll out to the left, or focus the Ray or focus the Vivian, make sure you just choose one and stick to it. And if you change your mind fast, because there's a few times when you just like kind of do that and like, who do I shoot at? Who do I shoot at? It doesn't matter who you choose ultimately, as long as you actually follow through, right? Like 1,000 damage done to 2 people is like, it can be healed up. 2,000 damage dealt to 1 person means that this person has to retreat. Their support has to send resources on them, right? You want to apply pressure, but you don't want to apply it to everyone. You want to apply it to who you want it to apply it to. And that kind of goes along with like how you position yourself too, right? Like I feel like at times you're very unsure of where you should be positioning, and that just comes with experience and VODing and just like thinking. Like next time you die or like you lose a fight, think about what won the enemy the fight, right? Like maybe the Vivian was shooting for free from the window, or maybe the Sky got around for free because she was invisible and you didn't get illuminate, which is a small thing. And then she just ran straight past you and killed the Saris or the Xin, right? And then think about, where could I have been, or what could I have done or focused on that could have stopped that, right? If the Vivian's free, wait till the shield's down and ult her. If the Sky's running past you, make sure you stay a bit closer to your support and your Xin to help them, right? But you kind of just held W and then like put yourself in positions where there were too many targets for you to shoot and you didn't choose one, and you also didn't know how to back out of it correctly. So yeah, indecisiveness. And I think the way you can practice this is just by saying like, oh, this point, the Vivian was too free last point. I'm going to focus on the Vivian this point. Let's see if it works and just go with it, right? And then over time, like you'll be able to make these choices faster, like right off the top of your head. And then also you'll see which ones are more effective than others. So yeah, 3 things: positioning, ulting, and making, like, I guess, more decisive decisions. I hope that was helpful. That's the end of the VOD review. I haven't done one of these in a while, so let me know if there's anything I can improve. These aren't scripted or anything. If you want, I could like start drawing stuff on the screen. I just need to figure out software for that. Once again, if you guys want your games reviewed, feel free to join the Discord server in the description. There's a whole VOD like category of channels. You guys can post reviews, and then we do written, live, or recorded reviews for champions. I do supports and tanks. We have like a bunch of Grandmaster tank players actually. We also have Fishnet, who's an AOC member and like a former pro support player. And we've got like a decent amount of DPS VODers as well. Yeah, we like helping people improve. Anyway, that's it for today. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.